even the systems of governance, the system of revenue collections, the systems of any administrative system, be it either monetary, policy-wise or whatever, it all zeroes down to individuals. Systems are as effective as the implementers. You might have the best system in the world. You might have the best system that can exist anywhere in the global scale, but it can fail. Reason being, the implementers of the same, the people who are tasked with overseeing that system, there is no goodwill, there is no collaboration, there is no what do we call it, consultation, and I mean they are about to fail. So every system is as good as the implementers. Anything that you want to think about to solve this thing, it is only as effective as those who are willing to support that system. Case in point, if you look at our constitution and the Kenya way of governance at large, you would say that we are not short of laws. All these things that we are talking about day and night, corruption, things that we are talking about accountability, things we are talking about human rights, these things are there. They're in the constitution. We have no shortage of laws. I don't think there is a country in Africa that has so many laws as Kenya. But look at the end results. We are still asking for things that are already in the constitution. Why? Because the law by itself can only be given live by the implementers. Even these technologies that we are talking about can only be as effective as the implementers are willing to implement them.
Because I think you're bringing about some excellent points. Can I just interact with you a little bit on that?
Yes.
Before you move forward. You're quite right, but the systems that we're facing throughout the world at the moment are all centralized systems. They're closed systems, right? So what you're 100% correct. Those systems are inherently flawed in terms of the fact that they're not transparent and they're only as good as what you say as the people who implement them. Whereas what we're talking about here in Web3 and with blockchain, they're open systems, so they are totally transparent. That means that there's developers, not just in Kenya, there'll be thousands of developers in Kenya that are looking at the code that I've just put up for the voting system. That's what I want. I want as many people as possible to look at my code. So what we're developing with blockchain is we're developing autonomous systems that run by themselves via smart contracts and what have you. They don't care. Those systems don't care about money. They don't care about how personal feelings. They just run by
first. Now, this thing are already being tested in Kenya. Na ukiangalia CS of health, me in my own theory, si ati ni evidence, but in my own theory naweza sema she's advocating for this globalist agenda na italeta CBDC. That means CBDC iko karibu. Another reason kwa nini CBDC iko karibu, we already have digital ID program. Digital ID program is a program of Bill Gates, literally. Yeye ndo na sisi kama what can we call? Sisi kama wa Kenya, we are not financing any part of it. Mbona we are not financing? Bill Gates is financing the whole of it. So tuko pabaya, and tunaweza kuwa, we can, as Kenyans, as this group, we can be, tunaweza kuwa an example to the whole world, kwa sababu this thing CBDC will go to the whole world. Sisi ka Kenyans, if we give a solution, the whole world will copy, and tutakuwa kwa part of history, because kila country inaelekea to CBDC. Another thing, hatuwezi taka our fellow children wakuje tena kufaitia ati president of the day amechagua CS wabaya ama president of the day amechukua loans zenye na akazitumia vibaya through odious debt. For example, kama hiyo debt trap wakikuja kuchukua approve ati AMF na World Bank hawezi to debt trap, kama ni sisi citizen tuna approve loan iendewe na tuna approve loan itumiwe vipi. So I'll leave it for there so that other speakers can speak, but yes, that's how we can apply blockchain into our day-to-day lives.
I think stay hidden.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Kenya, yeah, and I love about Kenyans is that very informed commentary there. I agree with pretty much all of what Stay Hidden has said. There is a nefarious agenda throughout the world. I was affected by it myself when I went back to visit my family in Australia. They kept me there for 2 years because of COVID, and I wasn't allowed to go back to my place of abode, which at that time was in Malaysia. So, and we were forced to take vaccines. So you couldn't even buy food, and if you didn't have a vaccine, there were people at the supermarket scanning your IDs to see that whether you've had the vaccination or not. And what's happened is that it's been 100% clear now and proven even by the people who have built those vaccines that they were completely ineffective. So it was a stage show. It was basically, from my perspective, to see how far they could push us, and they pushed us enough. The other thing, when I really realised that the whole thing was rubbish, was when basically I went back to Kenya and visiting people in the ghetto, and no one's affected, no one's vaccinated there, no such thing, and there's not people dropping dead from COVID. It was just complete nonsense, right? So they blew it all out of proportion. I think Stay Hidden's completely right about the Bill Gates agenda and the programs that he's instantiated. I know that you mentioned Florida, and you mentioned also the programs that he's put forward in even in Kenya and throughout Africa that have killed so many people. And I think that's why Africans are so weary of having immunizations and all that thing, and 100% quite rightly so. I wouldn't have my children unless they have 30, 40-year-old vaccines. There's no way in hell that they're going to touch my babies with that poison. So very good points. In terms of blockchain, look, I think Stay Hidden mentioned the tender system as well. That should all be put on chain. I think what we have to realise is look at the global economy. This is why this is happening in Africa and particularly Kenya right now. I think the powers that be understand very well that at the moment China is the centre of manufacturing for pretty much the whole world. Now, the demographics of China are basically that the population is getting quite old. The population has made their money, so the wealth effect through being the manufacturer of the world has created, risen up the population from complete poverty, exactly the same as what Africa was 25 years ago. They were in the same boat. Now they've been brought up. The population is aging. They haven't produced enough children, and they're basically screwed. So the globalists are basically looking at where can we move all this work. Now, in one way, it's a good thing, but the other way, what they're doing at the moment via the IMF and via the World Bank and via the EU policies for the UN, they have to keep Africa down. That's what they want to do. They want to keep Africa poor at the moment so that they can utilise that resource when that manufacturing capability needs to move. And it will bring, it's almost inevitable. There's nowhere else to go. Southeast Asia is expensive. It's getting more expensive. It'll probably gain in the next 10 or 15 years. Southeast Asia will do very well because stuff will move out of China into Southeast Asia. South America may do quite well, but they don't have the demographics that Africa does. Africa has the perfect demographics. So these nefarious organizations are basically drowning the countries to make sure that that still happens. That's what we're facing.
Yes, thank you for your input. Now I wanted to go into the bad phase where we welcome people. Basically, there is a lot of requests for speakers, speaking spot. So I'll allow contribution of other speakers, and also Kimuzi, you can co-host as I step out a bit. I think we can give Tony. He's raised a hand, Tony. And then, except for the main speakers who might need to answer questions, that is Vincent and Richard. Those two and stay hidden. You can stay in the chat. The others, once you have done making your point, you can just drop the mic so that we give other people a mic. Thank you. Tony, go ahead.
Kidogo tu.
Yeah.
Kimuzi.
Stay hidden. Yeah.
Vincent and Richard. I'd like us to collaborate on creating a video that will create awareness about how this blockchain can help us solve our problems, because Kenyans consume videos a lot. Na ukionyesha solutions in a video format, I guess people will understand and people will join the bandwagon. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And to add to that point, actually, Vincent and Richard, because I know you guys presented already products you're working on. There was a comment in the comment section where I think we had also a blockchain developer, and they were requesting the GitHub repository, so that the link. So I think Vincent, you can post that in the comment section, and we'll follow up so that we're able to basically start aggregating resources, even as we refine the contributions that are made, and to include them, and also shaping this so that we can serve as education to the wider audience in Kenya, so that we have more citizens on board and understand what capabilities that we may, the blockchain may bring to Kenyan governance. Thank you.
If you look at my profile, the GitHub repository is pinned to my profile.